Welcome back, everyone, to our final game of the day here at MSI 2021 in the Rumble stage. And this last one, I'm hoping, is a good one, Mr. Azael. We've got MAD Lions and PSG Talon, both of whom are sitting at 2-1, tied in the standings, going head-to-head here for the third time this tournament. Remember that the first two times these teams played, it was MAD Lions walking away with the dub in both.
Exactly. You know, PSG's that friend. You invite them over, you play a game, you beat them. They say, all right, best of 3. And then, you know, you play again, you beat them, you're like, all right, time to get food, or like, should we do something? All right, best of 5.
Best of 5,
That's what we're on now. You know, it's 2-0. And if they lose here, they can still ask for the best of 7, but MAD is looking for the 3-0. I will say game number 1 between them was not close at all. MAD smacked him. Game 2 was very competitive, and I do think that PSG have been looking better throughout the event. So while MAD are definitely the favorites, PSG could challenge here. And it would be, you know, really good for them in this group to get another win here from one of these teams that are challenging for those playoff spots. They already beat Pentanet, they already beat Cloud9, and they're searching for an upset win here over MAD.
Yeah, I think this will be, I mean, obviously this will be the most challenging game it'll be much more challenging than those previous 2 that they have got the wins on. But we were talking earlier about if you're looking at MAD and RNG and Damwon as those like big 3 that everyone's expecting to very clearly take a spot out of the Rumble stage. If PSG Talon then can turn around and beat MAD Lions, who they struggled with in the previous group, that bodes very well for this team and for their fans to say, hey, we're not just competing for 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these teams have their wins in the Rumble stage against Cloud9 and Pentanet, right?
Yeah.
So your 2 easiest wins are already gone. You know, based on tournament expectations, based on performance, Cloud9 and Pentanet are the worst teams in the group, at least right now. So those teams have already been beaten by both of these teams, and now they have got to set their sights higher on some of these really tough opponents here. If they want to continue collecting wins, you know, the second part of this round robin for them is going to be more difficult because they obviously are facing up against each other here now, and then they're either going to have Damwon or RNG remaining. One of them has played each, so that is what they are facing here. And I'm going to be excited to see the draft. It is a first pick Rumble. Because the Udyr was actually banned out, I think this is a really good pick. Again, I'm going to keep referencing it. It's kind of this triangle of junglers where it is the Rumble, the Morgana, as well as the Udyr. I do think that Rumble has the advantage over the Morgana, whereas Morgana has the advantage over the Udyr. Udyr has the advantage over the Rumble. So as soon as PSG ban out that Udyr, but don't ban out another, you're always going to grab the Rumble here, and Elyoya should be very happy to grab this pick. You have the Trist here early, you grab some engage with the Leona, so this could be mid-Trist, this could be bot. We'll have to see where they want to move it around, but we already know very clearly it's going to be the Kai'Sa plus the Nautilus down on the bottom side there for PSG. They're likely going to be going towards this Morgana in the jungle to be able to support the dive. This is being a very meta comp, honestly. Something that we've seen quite a few times at this point is these style of compositions. Kai'Sa plus engage plus Morgana. You black shield her, she goes in, and you look to really create advantages in that way.
Okay, so I never went over the bans at the very start, so let's take track of everything here since we are now halfway through the draft. It's Renekton, Thresh, Lee Sin, Udyr, Lucian, and Senna all banned away here in the first half, with Rumble, Trist, Leona as the first 3 picks for the MAD Lions. PSG Talon responding with the Kai'Sa, the Nautilus, and that Morg that you were just talking about as their first 3. Now we're into these next part of the bans. And for the side of PSG Talon, they know what Armut can do on the Wukong. They know that this is a pocket pick for him that you don't really expect to play against too often, but this guy clearly knows so much about the champion. He's so proficient at it. They'll ban that one away, as Nocturne is the ban from MAD Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, something else worth mentioning is that the Kai'Sa is also a takeaway from Carzzy. Was this most played by far in the LEC? You know, he does have 3 games on the Tristana. Humanoid has 1, so it is a flex, but this was not a go-to pick for them, at least in the LEC. Doesn't mean that they can't be fantastic at piloting the champion, but still worth mentioning that PSG was grabbing something both that is high prio for them and is also high prio for your opponents. So you always get a little bit of extra value out of those types of picks. The Sylas ban here does make me wonder what they're looking for as far as their 4th, 5th picks here. If you're expecting an AD top, maybe you want to look towards something, you know, even like the Malphite. You know, there are certain champions where you just basically can't pick it if Sylas is in the game.
Yeah.
So if you're looking towards some of those champions, you really have to be careful. None of the ultimates that they have right now, I think, are actually that bad to have stolen. Of course, the Nautilus ult can be good and so on. Jayce wouldn't be a concern for that, so it is a bit of an interesting ban.
Yeah, the other thing that I always also think about is if the enemy team has picked Alistar as their support, that's always when I expect to see Sylas rise in priority there as well, because you know how effective the Alistar is for Sylas to be able to steal that away from him. But considering we already have Leona and Nautilus locked in, we know what the state of the supports is going to be. So Gnar, the top laner for PSG Talon, response coming out from MAD Lions will be the Jayce to answer that one. We know how Jayce can do in this matchup. It is very scary stuff. And the final pick of the draft for the MAD Lions is...
We'll see.
It is...
We're not going to get dated just yet. The Gnar pick makes sense with the Sylas ban.
Viktor.
It's not as extreme as the Malphite that I referenced. That's always like kind of the dream scenario for a Sylas, but still, you can actually do very well as Sylas into Gnar, and Gnar, the Mega Gnar taking that, you kind of just have a better version of his ultimate with all the scaling that Sylas does get on it. And you can also see that PSG knew that Jayce was theoretically the response because they were actually hovering Jayce and showing that before they did go back to the Gnar themselves. So Hanabi going to be in a losing matchup. It's going to be Humanoid mid on the Viktor. Control Mage, that's comfort for him. You have Elyoya on the Rumble. That means Trist goes down to the bottom lane here for Carzzy. So MAD have some really powerful 5v5 here. And on the other side, it's going to be Galio for Maple. So they're going to try to be able to answer in some of these side lanes, right? There's a lot of ways that you can utilize the Galio, both to answer dive, but more than likely, it's going to be to follow up on the Gnar, diving into the backline, the Nautilus diving into the backline, and also to try to support Hanabi from getting picked on by this Jayce. You do not want the Gnar getting pushed in and dove and constantly taken advantage of. So the Galio will put a little bit of a wrinkle in the plans here potentially from MAD if they're looking to get aggressive, because anytime Maple is missing from lane, anytime he's moving up into fog, you've got to be worried about the potential roams, about the potential of that Galio ultimate. So pretty interesting comp here overall from PSG. I do think that they have got to be more proactive with it probably than their opponents. You know, overall,
they've already showed us that they can do that against Cloud9, right? We saw this team taking a Kali and a Lee Sin into this Kog'Maw, Lulu, Viktor, just we're gonna turtle up and scale, and they were able to just absolutely slaughter them as soon as they had the opportunity. Now, once again, Maple's up against a Viktor. Once again, he'll have to deal with that wave clear and deal with that powerful AoE. He's on a very different type of champion, but he's already shown us that him and this team, they've got what it takes.
Absolutely, they really do have some pretty strong team fighting. Doggo, I think, is excellent mechanically, and he's gonna have to be, because really that's where a lot of their damage is coming from here. You know, when you look over at the Morgana, it's not the most consistent DPS, can be pretty high burst if you can actually land a binding on a critical target, but a lot of the heavy lifting will have to be done here by Doggo. Maple wants to be able to be active on the map. It's Predator on him, it's Predator on River. A lot of the Dark Harvest junglers in Pro have just fully swapped over towards Predator, largely because you're not scrapping enough to get so many Dark Harvest stacks, and it just doesn't become worthwhile. If you're playing solo queue and you're fighting non-stop, you know, you have 10, 15, 20 stacks, all of a sudden it's seeming so
really
OP.
Strong.
But Predator is just more reliable. You get the move speed to actually enter these engages, you get that little bit of damage right off the bat, so that is more what they are prioritizing. Elyoya, though, is playing Dark Harvest, so feeling like he can get some value there, and we'll have to see exactly how he does play it out.
Okay, MAD Lions 2-1, 2-0 in this matchup, in this head-to-head against PSG Talon from the previous group. Remember that they were in that stage against one another, and now they find themselves head-to-head once more. Kaiwing, River, Doggo, Maple. We saw them all just playing 2 games ago in that matchup against C9, where they did find themselves another win here, and they're looking to make it a 2-0 day by having this late invade here against the MAD Lions, who will be able to see what's going on because of a ward. However, they won't know what's going on until a little later, because this is a full-on counter jungle, not just a single buff steal. River knows how effective Morgana is with that spooky dirt, stealing away some chickens. He's not even getting a buff. He's just stealing chickens and then going mid looking for Humanoid. So Humanoid, point-blank binding. He'll still be able to flash away from it, but that's a summoner spell instantly before 2 minutes.
Yeah, and because you can kill the Raptors so fast, you don't have to hard commit to doing the red buff, which is a much slower take there for the Morgana. So if you go to that and it gets sussed out, maybe it turns bad. But you take the Raptors, you force the flash mid, you're right up to the top side to do the other Raptor camp, which again is super, super fast here. So yes, he will be slightly behind the pace here, but he's on his third camp at the same time as Elyoya. The Wolves will be faster for the Rumble than the red buff will be for River, so he is slightly behind, but really he wasted very little time to have already exerted pressure mid lane, so well worth it there for River, and it's a really smart adaptation. It seems like we're seeing more and more of this as people are getting comfortable with this new meta, are really becoming very, very confident on a lot of these champions.
Ooh, Carzzy with a flash away from the dredge line there. Kaiwing threatening the all-in against the MAD Lions bottom lane duo that is still not level 2. A huge amount of minions waiting to crash into that turret, so the Lions know they can't fight.
Absolutely. Would have been terrible if you actually die with that wave pushing. It's kind of the nightmare scenario, so is forced to flash. Will be sad to give that up as the wave is now going to bounce and you could potentially get ganked or be exposed to a bit of a 2v2 fight that you're not really looking for at this point. But all things going pretty well besides that. Little advantage over to PSG in the jungle, but the laning has been better, you know, in some areas there for MAD, so they're kind of keeping it very close, and we'll see where they want to take us from here. Bottom scuttle will go to PSG. I'm not sure that River can actually get up towards the top side to try to challenge. He has been spotted.
Just steal chickens again.
Yeah, he's just going to go chickens right on respawn potentially, but it looks like they're already gone. I can't quite see on the minimap. No, they're about to respawn.
They're about to respawn. Yellow hourglass.
I apologize for my bad eyesight in the small screen.
Hey, it doesn't matter, man. Actually, I'm currently standing like 2 feet away from the screen. So now we got Doggo in a bad spot, trying to get away from the explosive charge. Fires back that W, looking for a little bit more damage onto Carzzy, who's got to try to continue getting himself away. Both AD carries down to about 200 HP here as the bottom lane is looking bloody.
Yeah, scrapping very heavily there. Hanabi finding Elyoya, but with the smite, he heals right back up. But it's Hanabi that's going to take the worst end of this. Maybe able to grab his first Dark Harvest proc, but not quite. Hanabi, though, still does have his TP as well as his flash available here. The wave is going to be pushed towards him, but not really much of an opportunity for a dive. Armut just wants to reset, wants to be able to hold on to that TP. And Kaiser here is trying to freeze the wave. He's trying to deny it from getting all the way in, which is why Kaiwing is staying around. And you can see Doggo heading back, and the wave will largely reach. The cannon should... Oh, it's not quite in range, so that actually really sucks.
Really big.
That's going to change things by, you know, about a swing of like probably 5 or 6 minions, because you can see the blue side minions are now going to die to the red side minions. So that's going to be a denial of some of them. Unfortunately, Carzzy playing the Tristana does kind of auto push, so it swings things back a little bit. So likely it will only result in maybe more like 3 or 4. But still, a nice little play, right? And that is one of those things that you should always go for. These incremental advantages, because that is a low risk and low reward play, right? But it's one of those things where it's like almost no risk, really. Like there's no chance that Leona can die standing by her tower like that, and you get something. It's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, there's no world where Kaiwing is able to actually kill Kaiser through his shield, through all his powerful defensive abilities of just being Leona that close to a turret. It's never happening. But PSG Talon in the enemy jungle and setting down plenty of vision too. You can see him placing him in both of those brushes, the one next to the red and the Krugs, as well as the one next to the chickens, making sure they have early sight on Elyoya whenever he goes into this bottom half of the jungle.
Man, I really like the vision that MAD have had around mid lane. This is actually one of those things that's easy to overlook because it's like nothing happens, right? So it's fine. Of course it's supposed to be like that, but they got his flash at level 1, and they have actually tried 2 to 3 return ganks now on Humanoid. Every single time there has been a ward over to the side. This ward that just expired right there was what prevented this time. Last time there was another one in that area, because it's not as though PSG haven't been trying to return to punish. That's something that I often criticize pro teams for, is when you force a summoner, it's not an advantage until you capitalize on it, right? It doesn't actually mean anything until you can either get a farm advantage from it or pressure them off or regank and kill them. And PSG was trying to do that, but because of good vision and correct positioning in the lane, they got nothing. And now Humanoid has his flashback. So really, at the end of the day, that flash being forced at level 1 did not make much of a difference whatsoever.
Okay, bottom side, we got the Drake being taken now as well. 6.5 minutes in, PSG Talon grabbing that one for themselves. Nice, close early game here for the first few minutes. No first blood on the table yet, as we're just about to hit that 7-minute mark. Looking back towards the top lane, Hanabi having a great time here in the Gnar versus Jayce matchup. Armut, remember, was the one picking the Jayce into this. He chose this as the counter pick. And honestly, it's not going that great for him.
No, he's actually behind in the matchup, of course, very slightly. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not a big deal. But he also went for the Vamp Scepter instead of a tier, so he's going for less of a scaling matchup. A lot of players do like to grab the early tier, then go into the Eclipse and get the Morgana Maunamune later on. In this case, he's itemizing towards the Vamp Scepter, which will be more lane power right now, but means your scaling is going to be set back. And with the early tabbies, as well as the Grasp, Hanabi has been able to keep parity in this lane. Maple is up here, though, so if he can close the gap with the Mega Gnar and kind of Gnar him back in, there was a chance of a play there, but you can see the question mark pings were going on around Maple. They know he's missing from mid lane, so if you play safe top lane, this allows Humanoid to shove in the wave mid and get some tower plates.
Ooh, we got some aggro in the bottom side, and Carzzy gets the first blood. Tristana making it happen on the other end of things. We got the kills being traded back and forth. Maple with the teleport into bot, forcing Carzzy to just run it down underneath the tier 1 turret, give the kill over to Kaiwing instead, make sure Maple doesn't get it. It is a 2-1 score for PSG Talon, but it was first blood and a gold lead for the MAD Lions.
Nicely done there by MAD Lions, getting that 2v2 kill coming into the tournament. You know, Carzzy, Kaiser had been receiving some criticism for some of their inconsistencies. Going to be able to actually delay the base here too. That's pretty annoying for Maple, as mid lane is not only already losing minions, he lost one tower plate off that roam towards top side. I'm not sure how much additional damage has been done there by Humanoid, but MAD getting the most of that. Elyoya going to be able to take down the Rift Herald here on the top side as well. And now we're going to get to see what happened on this other side in this replay here. Mega Gnar coming out, scoops him back. The stun lands, flashed with the ultimate from Morgana. You chase him down. You get so much move speed once you have that Soul Shackles on him. And Carzzy, realizing Maple has him dead to rights, is TPing in behind. It's better to just execute and give that gold to Kaiwing than it is to allow Maple to get something out of his TP play.
Right. You want to keep him at that 0-0-0 level. There's no world where you can escape the two of them together anyway, so you just have to make the less feels bad of a play.
Exactly.
Right? So that's what the choice was there for Carzzy. Still sitting on 69 versus 79 in terms of the farm, but having that extra kill is going to do wonders for making sure that he stays ahead of the tempo of the game here in terms of gold. 33.55 versus 31.38, so that is still a minor gold lead for Carzzy there in the bottom lane. We've got 2 minutes until our next Drake spawns. First one was Infernal, second was Ocean. So those two powerful souls that everyone usually prefers will not be on the table this time around. It will be a Mountain or a Cloud. Hanabi continues to maintain control over the top lane here in the 1v1. Farm is even between the two. Armut will find himself a slight advantage now, but Hanabi is taking plates.
Taking plates. He got the kill with that gank coming up there from River. They forced the flash as well, and Hanabi still has his. So there's an opportunity to potentially make a roam play happen. Humanoid, though, has just been kind of slowly and consistently creating farm leads. You know, every time Maple does roam, they're giving the answer of, oh,
okay, MAD Lions making a play in bottom lane. Kaiwing's trying to get out, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Elyoya burns him down.
Nicely done. Good trap laid there by MAD Lions. Kaiser and Elyoya waiting in the brush. And Kaiwing just assuming that he has roamed elsewhere, that he's looking towards mid lane, that he's looking for a play somewhere else on the map. And this is actually terrible for PSG, because this means you probably just lose the whole tower. Potentially the whole tower. At the very least, you're going to lose 4 plates, I think. So a lot of gold going the way of the MAD Lions. It will survive. They're getting TP'd on. They got to back it up. Hanabi is in Mega, but there's no one in range to back him up.
Yeah, he's just going in alone down here. Not really the best place to be. The teleport for PSG Talon just ends up amounting to a whole lot of nothing. And MAD Lions, man, a nice sequence of events, puts them almost 2,000 gold ahead.
I mean, you can see in the player camps, MAD were kind of having a laugh about it, because now you've TP'd down to the bottom side, and you're losing plates top side after just losing 4 plates bottom side. And PSG, you know, we're kind of going toe-to-toe here for a bit, but it just feels like it's going more and more in the favor of MAD now. A 2,000 gold lead here created in those last couple minutes. the early laning advantages from Hanabi, or at least early laning parity. He had done well in that matchup to stay close. Now means he's behind with that plate going down. Every time Maple roams, it's not like the sexy answer, it's not the cool answer of Humanoid, you know, counter roaming and killing him off or having a big fight, but Mad backs off, Maple gets nothing, Humanoid takes a plate, Humanoid pushes in a wave, creating incremental advantages there, and it's getting to this point where I feel like PSG are feeling the pressure a little bit. They're saying, all right, we got to get something done. All right, I'll TP bot. We'll go for this. But every time they go for these overforced plays, Mad is responding perfectly, backing up, giving them the respect, and giving them the minimum, and slowly eking out a larger and larger gold lead. The tower will now go down, and they're going to get the dragon to boot.
And you love seeing that kind of discipline from the Mad Lions. Now as we got the turret dive coming out, Armut staying alive for a moment, but Maple's got the kill. TP coming in from Humanoid, should be able to find a return kill here, but the flash away guarantees the Mad Lions mid laner will not find the kill just yet.
Morgana's behind
Down in the bottom lane, they were able to grab themselves the first Drake, but now Humanoid's in trouble. River coming up here, throwing down the soul shackles, trying to keep Humanoid locked down, avoiding the gravity well, and there you go. PSG Talon picking up another kill.
Humanoid on the over chase there. PSG pull off the dive. The first time Humanoid has moved from his lane this game, and he really wanted to get something for it. He wanted to make sure he got that kill from Hanabi, but he didn't have the information of where River was, and River was actually so intelligent. If we get this replay, watch what River does when he's playing this out. You know, at first, he's moving up. They get the initial play. Obviously, the Galio ult comes in. Easy peasy. Too much CC for Armut to really do anything. But then Morgana is coming in behind, and he's waiting for the overchase. He's not showing early. He's not wrapping through the tower where there's any chance of response. He waits over here by the pink ward. Blast cones in, and now you're behind Humanoid. So notice how he's staying below Humanoid. So even if Humanoid flashes, the only direction he can go to safety is the tower. And if you flash from there, you will not disconnect the soul shackles. So there's nowhere for him to go. He recognizes it. He doesn't spend the flash, which is the correct play. But a good punish there from PSG on the overchase. Thankfully for Mad, though, they got the tower on bot side. You can see Carzzy does have his mythic item completed. He's feeling pretty good about that, despite the fact that he's down on farm to Doggo. The gold is still in the favor of Mad by the tune to about 1K.
Yep, and once Carzzy gets that second item, has the Phantom Dancer come online, we know that that Kraken Slayer Phantom Dancer combination for Tristana is when things start to get really scary for her opponents, especially if she's left to her own devices to farm, make sure nobody else is taking the EXP, let her scale up with the range. Humanoid's looking for a little bit of extra damage here on the Maple, but he won't have the opportunity to find much more. Mad Lions still commanding a modest gold lead here of about 1,000. It's a nice lead to have, but it's nothing you're writing home about just yet. They want to continue to build this. They want to continue to find good fights. Those first items are online from multiple players of the Mad Lions roster. You've got everybody except the support with their mythic completed. On the side of PSG Talon, only the rocket belt for the Galio, who has 2 of their 4 kills, is finished at this point in time.
One thing I'm going to be curious about is, do Mad give the respect over to PSG and build Merc Treads, right? I really think they get insane value this game. Morgana, Galio, Nautilus, Gnar, like, that is such high value for Merc Treads. There are Sork shoes over on Elyoya. Obviously, it's defensible. You know, he's going more for damage than for that safety, but I would like to see, you know, Merc Treads likely on Humanoid as well as Armut, because while Matt are doing great and are really strong at this point, they have a strong 5v5, they have a strong, you know, team fight. CC is so game-changing, right? You get caught by a taunt flash, you can't move your character from full to dead because the binding's gonna follow up, the hook's gonna follow up, the Mega Gnar, the wall up. You've gotta be able to utilize that gold, and that's where I think the CC reduction for Merc Treads is just almost a must-buy for a lot of the Mad members.
Well, we have Ionian Boots of Lucidity for Armut. We have Merc Treads for Humanoid. So during the point that you were talking about all this, those 2 went back. They made their purchases. So we see one of them going more defensive. Armut, however, wants to stay on the more offensive option. He has completed his Eclipse. He is stacking the tier up. Although he didn't buy it as early as you had previously mentioned it, he's still deciding to go for this build. So it'll come online a little bit later. He won't quite have that extra power as early, but he will still have it eventually as this game moves forward. 6 kills in 16 minutes. It's not like we're playing a super fast game, right? It's not like we're going to see a Nexus pop at 19.5 minutes like we did in the previous game. So they know they've got a little bit of time to play with here.
Absolutely, and you know, when you're making choices with itemization, it's all contextual, right? And it all depends, you know, whether it's right or wrong on how the game is played out, how you were going to play it out. You know, Armut obviously going for the earlier Eclipse, wanted the additional laning power to try to, you know, pressure there during that phase. So we'll have to track when he does get the roam on it. Looks like it's just going to be a straight up Rift Herald Force here in front of PSG. This is pretty risky as Hanabi does have his Mega Gnar just about ready to go. Will PSG check this? Will they find the fight? Humanoid looking for poke on the flank here. Here we go.
Okay, Kaiwing's going in. Here's your fight. Equalizer coming down. Doggo having a flash away. Kaiser's down to about 1/3. Armut dealing with Hanabi here on the side. Hanabi did use the ulti, but didn't find a lot of success here. MAD Lions still maintaining their position on the Rift Herald, and despite the team fight, despite the ultis, nobody's dead on either side, and the MAD Lions claim that Herald.
Yeah, MAD played that out really, really well. You know, Humanoid, they had vision over on him, protecting him with the pink ward, so there was no spot on him, right? Had PSG been able to see Humanoid and collapse on him, separated from his team, things could have gone bad. Had Hanabi got all the way through on the flank, things could have gone bad, but they cleared out vision around Humanoid. He was safe, not spotted, poking away as they try to enter. And on the other side, Armut marked Hanabi. He never let him really get a juicy Mega Gnar. Yes, the Mega Gnar went off onto the Jayce, but it was just him. He didn't catch the carries. He didn't catch those all-important members. And in that, again, Maple looking.
Oh, nice taunt. Carzzy taking a lot of damage here, down to 200 HP, but he still lives. And considering PSG Talon is trying to focus that mid lane, trying to make a play there, they lose their top lane tier 2. Will Shelly get off another charge? Hanabi should be able to stop this with a boomerang toss. There we go. That could have been a lot of health off of the tier 3 turret. PSG Talon now back in the bottom side river, considering the MAD Lions are nowhere nearby. That'll be Drake number 2 for PSG.
Yeah, they grab their second dragon here, but the gold going more in the favor of MAD as they clean up the tower's top with that Rift Herald. Don't quite get that last charge, but the mid lane tier 1 also a stiff breeze away from going down here. Carzzy completes his second item. He is without summoners, so that is kind of one of the big things that they did get, is that MAD is going to be much more vulnerable in a big team fight, you know, during this phase, during this next couple of minutes here where Carzzy has no flash. If he does get dogpiled on, we talked about how much CC there is. You can get locked down, burst down, and he is the strongest member on MAD. So we may see them play very passively for this next 4 minutes or so. He will have his flash, I think, by the time the next dragon does spawn, so should be ready to go for that. And I think that is where we're going to look to see MAD really kind of stake their claim in the ground. They don't need to force anything too crazy unless the opportunity presents itself.
And on the other hand, I want to see PSG Talon try to make something happen there, right? Blowing the summoner spells only matters if you are able to take advantage of that within the window that they're still down. If the next 3 minutes passes and no play has been made, it doesn't really matter that Carzzy had to use the flash and heal. It just means that he used them at the right time and avoided any punishment. MAD Lions will continue farming up here, clearing out the waves. Carzzy up to level 11. That range is starting to get scarier and scarier. Off the top of my head, I don't know when he breaks even with Caitlyn. I think it's sometime around 12 or 13 maybe. But either way, the Tristana is starting to become a serious, powerful ranged threat. MAD Lions know that they're able to play around that. You've also got so much damage just across this entire roster, Azael. With Viktor, Tristana, you've got Rumble in the jungle and Jayce in the top lane. Anybody that's out of position on PSG Talon, if everybody from the MAD Lions is able to collapse, there's no way your health bar's enduring.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hanabi moving down here has been really good with his Mega Gnar timings, I've got to say. You know, it feels like he always has it ready to go when a fight is possibly brewing. Maple going to be bailing out, heading up towards the top side to push this out. He had been waiting to see if there was any potential fight. You know, PSG were expecting MAD to push heavily for this mid lane tower. So PSG was waiting around. But as soon as they see the solo laners on the side lanes, well, guess what? Now they move forward. Good patient play here for MAD, denying any opportunity of an engage, while Maple as well as Hanabi were in flanking positions. They see them in the side, they take the risk-free turret, and now they will be able to go up to top lane, down to bot lane, answer these waves. Maybe going to lose 1 minion here, but MAD, I think, is playing this out very intelligently, just kind of bouncing PSG around the map, knowing that PSG are the ones that really want to force and just never giving them the opportunities they need.
And I want to praise MAD for that, because remember, this is not one of those old school rosters. This is not a whole bunch of players that we've seen for so long, right? You're looking at Humanoid, Carzzy, and Kaiser that were part of that MAD Lions roster that went to Worlds last year and had that unceremonious exit. The first time that a major region got knocked out in the play-in stage, it was MAD Lions. But now you have these 3 players coming back. You've added Armut, who was on the roster that knocked them out of Worlds, by the way, in that 3-2 best-of-5 against Supermassive. And Elyoya coming in now being the rookie of the split here in spring. This is an impressive squad of younger players that have this level of discipline and have this level of control, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And Carzzy jumping away now, surviving the flank attempt from Hanabi, staying cool.
Yeah, Doggo takes the shock blast to the face there, the explosive charge up as well. That ends any sort of forward movement there from PSG, as he lost about 70–80% of his life, and now, knowing he goes back to base, MAD can feel confident. They move forward. They start to clear out some of the vision, take control, trying to steal away this jungle camp here. Are able to do it. Now they have Baron vision pretty much fully set up, and the further you get that vision in, the harder and harder it gets for PSG to actually check, right? If you have that first line of defense as PSG, you can just walk through safely your jungle, pop a ward in the Baron pit, but when you lose full control, you can see how nervous PSG is to even check that brush before the Baron. We know that MAD aren't on it, but PSG are always going to have that in the back of their mind, that this very high damage comp could be on Baron anytime they're off the map.
Okay, PSG Talon will shove out the mid lane once more, clearing out the waves along their way. We have 30 seconds until our 4th Drake of the game spawns. The score so far in that is 1 for MAD Lions, 2 for PSG Talon. You would expect the Lions to probably want to fight for this one. They don't just want to allow their opponents to hit that soul point super easily. They've got a 3,500 gold advantage, so they should have the edge here in one of these neutral team fights. Maple's available on the flank. Kaiwing trying to go in. Carzzy's been caught. Nicely done by PSG Talon, picking off the most important player on the MAD line.
The go-go gadget arm there. The max range hook from Kaiwing, snapping Carzzy back in. He thought he had the timing on the jump to get out. Unfortunately, he did not. And he held on to the summoners. He could have flashed that, but thought he was going to be able to avoid it. And this does put PSG at soul point. Yes, it is not the Infernal. Yes, it is not the Cloud, or rather, excuse me, the Ocean that a lot of people really do prioritize, but Cloud Soul is still very powerful. Not only is it the alt CDR that really can be actually quite nice for this type of composition that is looking for hard engages, it's the flat move speed that I think is criminally undervalued, and also the burst of move speed here, as you can see, just snapping him back in. A little bit of a visual freak out there during the replay. But the burst of move speed is really good for some of these champions specifically, like Maple entering the fight with his ulti with a huge burst of move speed, then chase down for a taunt. Hanabi, obviously less valuable there, as you more want the move speed to get in initially. Morgana, I think Cloud Soul, the proc is really, really nice because you already get bonus move speed when you pop your R, and now you're just going light speed and they can never escape.
Morgana becomes Udyr
yeah,
when she has the soul shackles on you. Once you have Cloud.
Doggo as well is like, it's really frightening when a Kai'Sa with Cloud Soul ults into the backline, then goes into the E, and they're just zooming around at 10,000 miles an hour. I mean, if they're good enough to control their character, they can pretty much dodge outside of everything.
If you cannot drive it into the ditch, it's really good.
But it's like one of those Ferraris, right? You got to get used to it.
All right, let's see if they can find a fight here in the top side river. Armut's taking some damage. Maple with a nice stasis to survive. Shock Blast without the acceleration is going to put some hurt on him. We can see our blue trinket placed down by the MAD Lions, but Kaiser's in a bad spot. Kaiwing goes right back in for the CC here. Equalizer nearly finding enough damage to kill Maple off. Doggo looking to turn the damage back around, but a nice shutdown coming out from Humanoid. MAD Lions looking for even more now as Hanabi goes right back at him. Humanoid falls, but it's a trade 1-for-1 yet again with Kaiwing taken out of the picture. MAD Lions, it is a 2-for-2, but they're the ones feeling better at the end of the fight.
They absolutely are. They are still out on the map here. But critically, PSG got a couple kills back there. If they don't kill off Humanoid, if they don't kill off that mid laner, it's likely MAD going over to the Baron. So that counter kill was so big for PSG because it could have been so much more for MAD. And PSG, you know, we're just fighting tooth and nail here, constantly looking to scrap, constantly looking for engages. Maple finds the Jayce here, but then Kaiser flashes in to stun him up. Doesn't have the timing perfect, as I believe there are Merc Treads there, so that CC ending pretty quick. And as a result, Maple was able to stopwatch the Leona ulti. Then Kaiser gets taken down, but in the new Axe Effect replay, you can see Maple retreating here, Carzzy pushing forward, but this kill over on Humanoid as he steps forward gets bound up. The Mega Gnar from Hanabi, the follow-up there on the nice pick from River, gets that kill and prevents the Baron from going down there.
This is a fun game. This is exactly what I was hoping we were going to get from MAD Lions versus PSG Talon. A close contest between these two teams. PSG Talon still behind in gold. It's felt like about a 3,000 gold deficit for quite a while here in this, but it's not getting smaller, and it's not growing into something that they cannot handle. They're still just sort of stuck in this limbo, but we're getting closer and closer to that Cloud Soul that you already pointed out the synergies with their champions, with their composition, and in 2 minutes from now, we're going to see if they can secure it. Right now, there is only vision from PSG Talon in the bottom side river, but the top side river, that's the story for the MAD Lions. Going after the Baron, down to half HP or so, and we'll see MAD Lions back it up. Taking a couple of extra auto attacks from it, they'll finally back away all the way now. They do get Hanabi's teleport for this, though.
Yeah, they get out the TP. That's pretty good. PSG didn't overcommit with a double TP, so that is also actually pretty important. They can still have Maple, at least answering waves from Armut if they do feel they need to. Right, pretty calm, measured response, but still, small win there for MAD, getting out 1 TP. I think the name of the game here, though, is going to be this Soul Dragon. And the question will be, will either team be attempting to actually trade for a Baron to commit to the other side of the map? Is it going to be a full-on brawl? Because if it is that full-on 5v5 brawl, so much comes down to the disengage from MAD. Can they actually peel back? Can Carzzy stay safe? If you can absorb the ultimate coming in there from Maple, from Hanabi, and kind of survive through that first big punch from PSG, I think MAD should be able to kite out and win that fight in the long run.
And as we are approaching the next big 5v5, it's time to check in on my favorite, JK, I hate this thing, item in the game with the stopwatches. Who's got these to make the big outplays? Humanoid's got the one ready to go here on Viktor. Doggo has the stopwatch on the Kai'Sa, and of course Maple has the completed Zhonya's Hourglass for the Galio. So all of those playmaking tools will be available. Also a stopwatch there for Kaiwing, who, remember, was critical in finding the pick onto Carzzy that made it so PSG Talon was able to get their third Drake and move on to the Soul Point. Now, Morgana binding over the wall onto Kaiser, but that's only Leona. They don't want to overcommit to this one. Doggo with a sidestep on the accelerated shock blast there, making sure he doesn't get chunked down. The power of that Jayce poke can do so much in these sort of situations. If PSG Talon do not want to commit to going after the Drake here nice and early. Nice two-man stun into the equalizer. River's running away. Kaiwing buying some time here with a stopwatch. PSG Talon want to turn it back around. Goodbye, Elyoya, and Doggo's got the kill. PSG Talon backing themselves away. They know their opponents have no jungler left. Kaiser's going to be targeted now, taken very low. Gnar looking for the damage. It's a double kill over to Doggo, but Carzzy is resetting. Holy Carzzy, baby! Triple kill for the MAD Lions, and he gets it done!
What a crazy fight there, Carzzy surviving at the very end. PSG was so chunked out, but they got the initial kills, so they had the confidence to stay around and continue the fight. This ultimate from Leona, River is chunked out immediately. Maple's not even in the fight. Doggo going back and forth, getting so much damage down, but taking a tremendous amount of damage from the Viktor here. And then they go for the re-engage. Humanoid with a beautiful Zhonya's. Watch Doggo here, stop watching the second part of the laser to avoid that, but then Carzzy, eyes get big, he knows he can go for it, jumps in and straight up Goomba stomps PSG there, and they're over onto the Baron here now. Can PSG respond in time? I think it's too low. This should just be MAD's Baron as well.
Easily.
They get it all.
MAD Lions! That fight was looking so rough at the start, but Carzzy flashing away as they tried to re-engage on him, having the damage, being that late game carry that the MAD Lions need. The score says 9-10, but it's all looking like MAD Lions right about now.
Absolutely. I mean, you deny the early soul there from PSG. They're going to have to wait a lot longer. And for MAD, you're expecting the gold lead to balloon even larger than it is right now. And it's already a 5,000 gold lead. So that next dragon, if PSG can even survive to get to it, becomes that much harder to take. But I think MAD deserves so much credit for pulling the trigger on that engage. PSG wants to be the ones engaging, wants to be the ones setting up the fights on their terms, but MAD didn't give them the chance. Kaiser as well as Elyoya, they find the engage, River is pushed out before the fight even starts, Maple's not even there until much later. It was good team fighting from PSG, but they started off on such a disadvantageous position because of that killer instinct that MAD had.
And getting that kill on Elyoya at the start, yeah, that feels good. You're fighting over a neutral objective. The enemy jungler's dead, but the follow-up just wasn't quite there. And now we'll see what else MAD Lions can get with this Baron. They will get their 5th and 6th turrets of the game. 6-2 in that turret count is a big reason for the gold lead that you're seeing the Mad Lions have while in a kill deficit, and they're looking to take it even further. 90 seconds remaining here on the Baron. River's at a quarter HP, so they know that PSG Talon can't make an honest 5v5 fight out of this, and that's a free inhibitor in the bot lane.
Yeah, Armut just poking him out there. River has to go back. They force out the locket from Kaiwing as well. They grab another tower here, so the gold lead really expanding. It's up over 6,000 already. Mad gonna steal the jungle on the way out here, and things are getting pretty tough for PSG. There's still going to be opportunities for them if they find that perfect engage, but it's got to be so good to be able to really find a fight where the gold lead doesn't just completely blast you. And this may be their best chance before Mad get to reset and spend their gold. But with Hanabi's Mega Gnar expiring, that window is kind of closed.
Yeah, Mega Gnar is gone. Doggo got chunked by the accelerated shock blast. One of those hitting him takes him to about 60% HP. Kaiser moving forward. Carzzy jumping in. A little bit of more damage coming out here as the Nautilus ulti finds its way on the enemy AD carry, but the equalizer says y'all better step back. Kaiser somehow surviving with about 10 HP. Hanabi gets chased away. Humanoid on the chase for that one. Kaiser will finally die to Kaiwing. I don't know if he ignited him on the very back end. Oh no, I think he accidentally aggroed the chickens and the chickens murdered him. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because he's dead right next to him, but the TP's here.
He's almost
Hanabi's ready to go. He's got the Mega Gnar coming out now. Reinforcements show up in the form of Maple. Doggo's got the kill on Elyoya, but Hanabi's killed by Humanoid instantly. 1-for-1 trade is not what they were looking for.
No, not at all. It was Humanoid positioned perfectly on the side. Control alt delates Gnar. Hanabi goes down in a hurry with all that damage coming through. Matt are going to grab another inhib here. And now PSG are going to be hard pressed to keep these minions out of their base, to get out on the map, and even set up for this dragon here. So here is the initial play, as Kaiwing had a good disengage there, timed the hook well. Carzzy jumps in, so they say, all right, let's go. The binding does not connect with Carzzy, though. It is over onto Kaiser. Kaiser with the ignite, getting very, very low. He does survive, and yeah. Oh, it's the W expiration there. The W pop over the wall. Aggro the chicken.
You can see the shock on his face because you're not even thinking about it. You're thinking about, oh, okay, I've got my shield. I'll run away. And then, unfortunately, as soon as that shield procs, the chickens are a vengeful harbinger, man. Those chickens got their revenge, and that will be just about the only saving grace on the back end of that. Mad Lions now picking up their 3rd Drake of the game, once more denying the soul, and once again making it look like this is their game to lose.
Absolutely, they are on soul point now, despite the fact that it's 6v5. PSG have 5 plus the chickens. Mad still heroically pushing forward here, looking to close this one out. Very far ahead as far as the gold lead goes. No one's behind Kaiser, so I think Hanabi's going to be just a-okay. But they've lost control of the jungle. The gold lead is ballooning. There are still some strong members. You know, Doggo has been getting fun with all the farm. You know, notice how low the Soul Laner's farm is. So Doggo is very, very much relevant. You know, he's almost full build. Carzzy is slightly ahead as far as like current power right now. You know, he's got 5 plus the Last Whisper, and Doggo has 5 plus a Crit Cloak. So it is an advantage over on that side, but Doggo is a real threat, and you've still got to respect the CC and the engage. PSG, they're looking for the same thing as always, that perfect engage, and if they can get it, they might be able to pull something back, but River tanks that shock blast, loses so much of his health, and Kaiser.
Oh, Carzzy has to jump away there, but now with the chain CC coming down, guaranteeing they can't move out of the way of the equalizer. Mad Lions have already found 2 kills. Doggo's looking for that damage, but Armut's into the back line and just kills him off. Granted, it's Guardian Angel. They've still got a little bit more work to do. Doggo comes back to life and immediately goes right back to death. Ace for the Mad Lions. And for the 3rd time here at MSI 2021, they will defeat PSG Talon.
Nicely played here by Mad. A really strong showing from them. PSG had their moments, but Mad played so smart around the plan that they knew would be coming out from PSG. They always respected the roams from Maple. Anytime he's missing from mid lane, they back it up. They created slow incremental advantages that they extended into large advantages, and they were able to come up big when it mattered with the team fighting. Carzzy Spectacular game from him. Humanoid, I think, as well. I would think had a lot of damage this game because it felt like his positioning was always solid in the team fights, and he really was maximizing what he could get done on that Viktor.
MAD Lions are such a fun team to watch. Again, going back to the praise that you were giving them in the early game when PSG Talon was trying to roam around and make these bloody plays and force some of that bigger skirmishing in the bottom side of the map or in the top side of the map or wherever. It was always the MAD Lions who were allocating enough resources to get away from it, but then also not over-investing and just continuing to build up plays, continuing to get farm, continuing to have pressure. That's why for so long in this game, the turret count was 4-1 because MAD Lions just understood where they had to have their people positioned better. And then watching them team fight is always such a treat. This team is definitely one to keep your eyes on here. Taking out PSG Talon yet again, moving up to 3-1 here in the standings. Very exciting stuff.
Absolutely. It does feel like they've been leveling up throughout the tournament. Now into the Rumble stage, it feels like we're seeing less of the mid-game troubles for MAD that they showed in that group stage. They really are rising up to the top here as one of the favorites, and I think something that all the LEC fans, all the MAD Lions fans can be very, very excited about. PSG, they still do have their 2 wins. They're going to have a chance to try to pick up another in the first round robin. But PSG, while they do fall down, are still in control of their fate. As long as they beat Cloud9 and Pentanet again, PSG are out, right? So losing to MAD Lions, losing to RNG, losing to Dom1, while you don't want it to happen, it is still okay. Because they already beat Cloud9, because they already beat Pentanet, they should be feeling more comfortable than some of those teams below them in the standings, and MAD continues their climb towards the top.
And let's go ahead and take a look back now in the Drive to Victory presented by Mercedes-Benz at the MAD Lions Drake fight that looked like it could have been so bad, but then Carzzy made it oh so good.
Yeah, and to me, it's all about the initial engage. It's the fact that River is chunked out before the fight even begins. Hanabi's down to 40%. Maple's not even there. PSG fought this very well from that position, but because of the HP advantages here, it is Carzzy flashing out of the taunt coming through there from Maple, surviving, and then as the stopwatch expires from Doggo, he used it on the second part of the Viktor laser. In he goes. He sees those low health bars. He sees the kills waiting for him, and he goes in to collect them. As I step out of frame, my bad. Carzzy, better mechanics on the Tristana than I have with the camera frame here. You know?
I just love watching the camera zoom in on this little purple Yordle with the giant cannon jumping on top of an edgy character like Kai'Sa with her, I've got all the power of the void supporting me. And Tristana said, I got a big old cannon. That's fun to watch. But that's the end of our games here today. That was number 6 of 6.
Banger.
So back to the commercials here one more time after the break. It's time for the MSI cooldown. We're also going to hear from Kaiser about that game 6 on the day. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Dear me, I just wanted to tell you that soon, everything you know will change. You're part of the breakout, part of an elite group of individuals that launched a global movement. The pioneers that changed the sole definition of a gamer. I'm you, from the future, and I just wanted to tell you that your future will be legendary. Exceed the game, unleash the future.